Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the BettingPros NFL podcast. I'm your host, Dan Harris. You can find me on Twitter at DanHarris80. With me, of course, is Matt Peralt, host of the Daily Juice podcast. You can find him on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt. Matt, what's up?
Week 4, let's get going here. We're kind of treading water. We're like a duck right now. We're just kind of treading water. We got to get going.
And, it's unfortunate that we're not able to bet on the most exciting game of the week, which is the Jets. We could.
How do you feel about it? Honest to gosh, as a Jet fan, how do you feel about your football team right now?
I think my football team is one of the biggest embarrassments in the country, which says a lot. I think that they're horrific, and they have the worst coach in the league. I tell you what I really think about this season, though, what really bugs me is...
by the way, though, at the time of taping, you have the worst coach in the league.
That's true. Although there was a report today. There was a report today that they weren't going to fire him. I was like, great. It doesn't really matter. He's not going to... whether he survives the season or not, I don't know. The big thing for me is maybe you feel differently. I don't really feel like I have enough of a sense of whether I can evaluate Darnold yet. He makes some horrific throws and some terrible decisions, but he also uncorks a lot of pretty amazing things that I've seen him do. And I don't think he's been given a fair shake, given his coaching, given the team they put around him. So I guess, out of curiosity, before we get into it, how do you feel about Darnold and the future? Because I could see us getting the number 1 pick, drafting Lawrence, getting rid of Darnold, and then him winning like 6 championships for the Pats or something like that, right? Like, that's how I could see it.
Maybe. You kind of have to ask me tomorrow morning because I bet the Jets to win today. So
did I.
So like if Darnold plays,
gosh.
if he plays his butt off and he's lighting up that defense for the Broncos, then I'm going to be like, go Sam Darnold. If he loses tonight, I'm going to say tank for Trevor.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it won't be impressive no matter what. But either way, we are unfortunately both on the Jets side, not in our contest, and we are not advising anybody. Don't yell at us if the Jets lose. It's just a game that you bet, because otherwise, even as a Jets fan, there's absolutely no reason to watch. Okay, so we're going to get into every game for this weekend, as we do every single time we record. But as always, let us recap where we are in the DraftKings Championship. We were 5-5 coming in, so just kind of treading water, and as Matt said, we're still kind of treading water. We went 3-2 last week, so at least a winning week. We're 255th out of 689. So not great, but not the worst in the world. We missed on the Chargers laying 6.5 to the Panthers. Remind us never to back a rookie quarterback, as you said. No good. We did hit on the Steelers laying 3.5 to the Texans, the Pats laying 5.5 to the Raiders, which we both loved, and the Chiefs getting 3.5 from the Ravens. We really enjoyed the last time we will see Patrick Mahomes getting points from anyone. And on the podcast, we had picked the Titans laying 2.5 to the Vikings. Matt messaged me on Saturday, because we talk, we generally message throughout the week, said some sharps had really, really pushed him off of that number. So we decided to move off. We didn't really have another pick that we loved, so Matt allowed me to go with the Giants getting 3.5 from the 49ers, which just missed. But also, the other games that we were thinking about also did not go well anyway. We were talking about maybe the Falcons or the Cowboys, so we would have lost that pick anyway. So 3-2, 8-7 on the year. We need a good week. So we're going to go back and forth a bit. Matt is going to list his top choice. I will list my top choice. I talked to Matt briefly before we got on. It sounds like he is not feeling all that good. I think I have 9 games. If you came, I don't feel great. But let me qualify that. I don't feel great, but if you came to me right now, if you list one of those games, I will probably just be like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with that. I'll go with that.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that. Again, I will remind everybody, props are not out yet. That's just the way it is with the sports books. They don't come out until late. So again, I will remind you, Matt does a live stream on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/bettingpros on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. So that's 8 a.m. Matt's time. He goes through the entire slate for the week. If you've changed anything, he also does props. I give him a couple of props. I was 6 for 6 on my props. I only gave Matt 2 because they were the only 2 I felt really good about, but I was 6 for 6 overall on my props. Again, I do fantasy projections, so hopefully things are starting to normalize a little bit, because the first couple of weeks were a little more difficult for me to get a sense of. But anyway, we will do that. As always, if we change any of the picks we discussed today, we will note them on Twitter at DanHarris80, at SportsTalkMatt. Let's get into it. Matt, start us off. Do you have any games that you are excited about this weekend? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You want to start with the one I like the most?
You can, Matt. The world is your oyster, man. Start with whatever you want.
Let's start with the Las Vegas Raiders at home catching 2.5. Oh, wow. Already an out of you in the first one.
Of all,
okay.
How long are you just going to avoid the Bills? How long are you just going to fade the Bills until they eventually win the Super Bowl and you're going to be like, I don't know, next year though, that Josh Allen guy.
So you tell me, should they have won last week?
No.
So we're going on a team that got a massive break, is coming across the country to take on a team in the Raiders who are playing at home, who rested a bunch of guys, and we don't know exactly who's going to play for the Raiders, but they're getting some guys back for this game.
We know a couple of guys who are not coming back, though. We know Bryan Edwards is out.
Correct.
We know Henry Ruggs is almost definitely out.
Correct.
So you're going to have...
Josh Jacobs is playing, and that's all that I need to know about.
All right.
He's going to destroy... The Bills gave up so many rushing yards in the second half of that game against the Rams. They can't tackle. That defense got lit up by the Dolphins, and it got lit up by the Rams. The Raiders are going to run the ball, and Jacobs is the best back of the three teams that they got going. Jacobs prop over everything. Josh Jacobs leads this team to a victory. They're going to win this game outright at home and beat the Buffalo Bills. Take the 2.5.
I don't think so. I heard you talk about it with Dave Sharpen in the Daily Juice, where you made your pick. And again, I don't just say it because it's part of our network of podcasts. The Daily Juice is a great podcast. It's every morning, 15 minutes. I really enjoy it. So, Matt, you already made that pick. So I knew this was coming. Yep. I was ready for it. And so I looked into it and I was like, all right, is this something I feel comfortable with? First of all, you have it at 3, though, right? You bet it at 3.
That's what I bet it at, yes. But I think they win the game outright. So any points in general I like.
Why? What is so, I mean, how? Okay,
because the Bills beat bad teams and they should have lost to the Rams. They beat two bad teams in week 1 and 2.
Okay. How are the Raiders going to be able to stop the Bills' offense?
It's going to be a high-scoring game, but yeah, I think enough, yes. They will stop them enough.
A high-scoring game, how? I don't understand. Is Josh Jacobs going to run for 400 yards? Because they're going to probably put Tre'Davious White on Darren Waller. And there are no other wide receivers out there. You're legitimately just going to have to run the ball nonstop. What are you going to mention Zay Jones or Nelson Aguilar? Or
there you go. Aguilar has looked good in a Raider uniform.
Aguilar looks good in no uniform, man.
I'm telling you, he's looked good. Derek Carr's been accurate, and I'm telling you this. McDermott's not Belichick, all right? And Waller will be force-fed. I thought the Raiders really were afraid to give the ball to Waller. For whatever reason, I think they got out-Belichicked in their brain. They should have force-fed Waller. I think they'll force-feed him coming up. And at home, I like this team in the comforts of their own home. And it's kind of been a local story. They went kind of national, but they had a really bad week, okay? This team needs to win a football game to get everybody's mind off of what happened on Monday.
The Waller
fundraiser. The Waller fundraiser on Monday was bad, really bad. 10 players, no masks, no social distancing. It was awful. It was really awful. This team needs a victory to get everybody off of that, because if they lose, the questions are going to be loud to the Gruden side of, well, John, you got fined $100K for not wearing a mask. 2 days later, 10 of your players were sitting there at an event without wearing masks. Distraction, not focused, not taking it seriously. I expect an A-plus effort out of the Raiders coming up this weekend.
How many people from either your radio show or from your podcast get on you on Twitter for how much you fade the Bills? It's got to be like...
I would say it's 99% of Bills fans out here from that are negative, and 1% say you're right.
Well, so, look...
I mean, literally, I've had people say, you need to apologize. I've had them say, you need to go on an apology tour, that you need to bet the Bills every time now. I want you wearing a Bills jersey by the end of the season. All sorts of things. But I'm going to maintain this. And look, I talked to someone from Pro Football Focus on my show today who said that Josh Allen's numbers when he's pressured are better than Josh Allen's numbers in a clean pocket. That tells you that that's a regression coming in a big, big way. When you're more accurate, when you're getting guys in your face, that's luck, okay? You're getting lucky that you're completing these passes and having big numbers. A regression for the Bills' offense is coming this weekend.
I have a lot of friends still in Buffalo. I have some family in Buffalo. I went to school there, so I apologize on behalf of Matt Peral. Just add him, Sports Talk Matt, not me.
By the way, did you see that stupid thing going around Twitter about like why people? It's an apology letter to Josh Allen.
I did. My goodness,
cowards, you clowns! Just cut it out. Just get out of here. The guy can't hit a broadside of a barn still. Okay, he's an athlete, good athlete. That's what he is.
To everyone in Buffalo, I love Duff's wings, man. I would go get some Duff's right now. Give me some Duff right over there. Okay.
Which funny too, because I have a chicken wing addiction. Like, I love buffalo wings.
Yes,
they're my favorite food. So I should like the Bills, but I just don't.
Oh my God, this is actually terrible. I have to just make sure that I'm not going to say it wrong because I think it was, yeah, okay, good. Duff's Wings. I was like, wait, there's Duff's. It's plural, right? It's not singular. Although I haven't been there in like 15 years, unfortunately. But Duff's Wings, by the way, if you go there, Anchor Bar, I know they say they invented wings.
Yep.
Duff's is the best by
Oh,
far.
okay.
Okay. I love it when the Jets beat writers go up there and they're all like, no, we're going to Duff's. I'm like, that's right. That's what you do. But we are not taking the Raiders. I'm not, look, I don't see it. I don't
Okay.
see it with no receivers. That's my big worry. I do think Jacobs going to run all over them. I think they'll go to Waller, but I think that they are going to do the Patriots, going to stick my best corner on Darren Waller. And I think, White is good. He's not Gilmore good, but he's really, really good. And I think that he's going to be able to kind of shut him down. And I think the Patriots showed a little bit what you do. You just kind of get all of Carr's check down options. You're like, nah, man, we are not giving you this outlet. Feel free to go deep to Nelson Aguilar or Zay Jones or something like that. But we're just blanketing your check down options. So for me, under a field goal, can't do it because that means I have to feel like they're going to win outright, and I just don't. So we're going to put that one off. I'm exercising my right to put that one off, as you will with multiple picks, I'm sure. Okay, so a game I like, I'll start with this one. Saints laying 3.5 to the Lions. So there are a couple minor issues here. Number one, Detroit's getting healthier. Kenny Golladay played last week. The defense is getting a little healthier. Saints are dealing with a ton of injuries. Jared Cook, my guess is he's probably not going to play. I'm a little worried about Marshawn Lattimore. Apparently, he's got a little bit of a hamstring. If he doesn't play, that might change the way I feel about it because I really do view this as Lattimore is just going to take away Golladay, just the whole game. And I think Michael Thomas is going to play here. He's practiced the last 2 days. Sounds like he's trending up. They need to bounce back here. You don't go wrong really fading Matt Patricia, I feel like. And the Saints didn't look good against the Packers, but I don't think the Lions are really going to be able to run on them with AP. I think Lattimore is going to be able to take away Golladay. So you're looking at them moving the ball with Hawkinson and Marvin Jones, and I'm just not that worried about it. And again, you look at this game against the Packers where, eventually the Saints got beaten. Taysom Hill doesn't fumble that ball, and they can easily win that game. They're still putting up 29 points per game, as bad as Drew Brees looks. 29 points per game. They're fourth in offensive DVOA, and that's without Michael Thomas, pretty much. There's no pass rush for the Lions. I think this is a bounce back game for the Saints. There's no fans, so I don't care really about the home field advantage. So for me, I like the Saints laying 3.5 to the Lions.
See, this is the week of home dogs that really concerns me. And I'm concerned about laying points on the road. And you've been fading the Lions. You faded my Lions pick last week. You didn't like it. And you X'd it, and they went and won the game outright on the Cardinals. I'm going to say no to this, and I don't like the Saints this year at all. And they were my pick preseason to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Drew Brees, unless they're going to come up with a package that is half Hill and half Brees, it's really difficult to like the Saints offense, and that's with Alvin Kamara, who's just an absolute destroyer of defenses. Yep. I'm concerned about the Saints in a big way, and look, they've invested in that defense. Stafford played really well. Golladay was a beast. I get it. You take him away, and then what else have you got there? But that's a scary number for me. I'm very concerned about laying points on the road right now, especially for a team like the Saints. So I got to say no to the Saints.
That's totally fine. And again, this is part of what we do. We go back and forth. Each one of us has the full power to be like, absolutely not, I cannot do that. And that's totally fine. For me, I think they're going to run. I think they're just going to destroy the Lions in this game. But that's completely fine. And again, I'm not really fading the road team because of the lack of home field advantage in this point. If Thomas comes back, I feel fine. Get to your next pick then. Let's see if we can agree.
Okay, so my next pick that I like a lot, and a lot of these plays are based upon numbers here, right?
Yep.
Eagles plus 7.5.
Really?
Over a touchdown. You look at this line. This line should be 3. This line shouldn't be 7.5. This is way too many points here. The Eagles everyone's fading them. They're 0-2-1. They're playing so poorly. There are so many injuries on the 49ers. We don't know who's playing for them. And look, I know the Giants just got destroyed by them running the football. But think about this. If you're Doug Peterson, you lose this game, you're 0-3-1 right now. You might be on the hot seat. You might be on the hot seat now. I don't think Carson Wentz is this bad. I think this is a team look, they're going to lose this game, I think, but not by more than 7 points. I love the 7.5. The hook here matters to me, taking the Eagles plus 7.5.
Yeah, I agree that the hook, it's on my list. So I'm going to put this one as a probable. I'm putting it on list. I liked it as well. I'm a little nervous. Carson Wentz is playing, I mean, as poorly as I can remember a quarterback playing. He's not this bad. But again, a little bit that worries me is they're really down wide receivers right now. I mean, I don't know if Deshaun Jackson's going to play. We know Jalen Reagor's out. We know Dallas Goedert is out. It makes me a little worried. But you talk about that Giants game, man. We were texting during the first half of that game. Daniel Jones doesn't turn the ball over like right by the half. That's it wasn't like they blew them out of the water right out of the gate. Like the 49ers right now are not that good. Garoppolo's not going to play. Kittle, I guess, is going to play. It sounds like that, which does make me a little worried. And I think it sounds like McKinnon is also healthy, so they'll at least have the two backs. Mostert's not going to play. But I agree with you here. I mean, they're just, given all the injuries on defense, given everything that's starting, the desperation that's going to set in for the Eagles, which you wouldn't know necessarily because of the fact that they played for the tie against Cincinnati, which was just absolutely ludicrous. I'm okay with it. So let's put that one in pencil, but I think that's one that we're going to go with. And shocked that that's what you went with. Okay. How about, and this one, again, this is sort of, I guess, similar to the Saints, but what do you think about the Cardinals laying 3.5 at the Panthers? To me, I think this last game was a bit of a wake-up call for the Cardinals. You've heard Larry Fitzgerald talk about it. It was like, what, you've got sort of these suddenly Super Bowl aspirations, and then this game comes along and just knocks you on your butt. The caveat is, for me, DeAndre Hopkins has missed the last 2 days of practice with an ankle injury. It may be nothing. It may just be routine maintenance. If he's out, forget it. I don't want anything about this. But they should be able to run all day. I think this is a big Kenyon Drake game for them, and Kyler Murray running the ball. I don't love the Panthers. They're coming off that win, like, good for them, but I think it's a letdown spot for them. I think the Cardinals are angry. I think they're way better than we saw against the Lions. So now this kind of goes with the Saints laying 3.5 on the road, but Cardinals at the Panthers 3.5. What do you think?
Put it in pen.
Ooh, all right. Okay, very
Cardinals,
good.
Look, here's the thing with the Panthers, and I got into a little bit of an argument. I was talking to someone from Pro Football Focus. They were trying to make the case that the Panthers are a better offense without McCaffrey. And
what?
I just was like, what do you mean? And the person was like, it was Eric Eager. And he was like, look, you can make a case for this offense being more prolific because they share the football when they don't have McCaffrey on the field. And so they go to the wide receivers. They'll go to different running backs. It's not just all McCaffrey. I think that's kind of nuts, personally. I think he's one of the top 5 best players in the game, and you feed that guy as much as possible because him versus a linebacker. And he's like, well, they throw the ball over 10 yards when they've got McCaffrey on the sidelines. With him, he starts 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which I guess in theory makes sense, but it's still Christian McCaffrey. So this Panthers team, I know I got caught. I think we had the Chargers last week, right?
We did,
yeah,
yes.
I had it in both.
I didn't love it. That was the one that we sort of let, and you felt pretty good about it.
Yeah, and I had it on both. I had it on the DraftKings, and I had it on the Circa Million pick. So I went 0-2 on that. I'm okay going back and fading the Panthers again. Yep. I think they're garbage, and I think there was just some points left on the field there by a rookie. I think there were some mistakes there that shouldn't have happened. I mean, the defense basically bent and didn't break. They stopped them inside the red zone a bunch of times, held them to field goals. So maybe it was a little bit of a better performance than I thought offensively. But the Cardinals, I'm with you. Coming off of a loss, it's only 3.5.
Yep.
And Hopkins, I think, is going to play. I mean, he's a guy who's notorious for, not practicing during the week.
If he doesn't play, I will revisit it. And we, again, I always hit on Saturday night. I always tweet it out what our final picks are because that's when I put them in. I don't put them in. We can put them in on Sunday morning. I put them in on Saturday night. So follow us on Twitter, Dan Harris 80 Sports Talk Matt, just in case we change it. But assuming he plays, which right now I'm assuming he does, I'm totally on board with it. So this is good. It's an in pen subject to Hopkins. Go ahead to your next one.
Good. Second one. Why are the Cowboys favored by 4.5 points?
Mm-hmm. This is a good question.
This is kind of nuts to me. I mean, the Cowboys are not good right now. They've got big problems. They have internal issues with whether or not the owner is saying things about Dak Prescott publicly, saying he's not Patrick Mahomes, and well, who is? But so Jerry Jones's comments were interesting. I think there's big issues, and I think the Browns are coming along here. And they're starting to grow on me, and I think Stefanski's offense is starting to take hold a little bit. That defense playing a little bit better than maybe we thought they were going to be, and it's 4.5.
Yep.
So again, this is a numbers play for me, but I think the Cowboys win the game, but they might win. I think they win by a field goal. I'll take the 4.5 points here with the Browns.
So I'm with you. I want to know, though, whether or not if Kareem Hunt misses this game, because he's missed practice several days in a row now with a groin injury, and today Odell Beckham Jr. popped up on the injury report with a back injury that he's apparently playing through. I don't know about that because this is a big game for Beckham coming. I think if he's fully healthy, right? I mean, the corners can't stop him. It was on my list, so I'm good with it right now. That does make me a little worried about it. I'm not sure. I don't think Denzel Ward is going to come back and play yet, which I don't really think matters. I think it's going to be a shootout, but what I really get at is after that first game against the Ravens, we were like, oh no,
right,
same old Browns. But yes, they let Cincinnati backdoor cover, but they completely dominated that game.
Yep.
And against the Washington football team. So they're a better team than they're being given credit for. And if you're saying why don't we fade the Cowboys, I'm totally about that. Like every single week, I'm fine to do that because I've been about them and I've been like, oh, I think they're gonna do it, but no, yeah, I'm good with that. Let's put that one in like erasable pen just in case we've got something there. But I'm pretty good with that. I have a couple of other games that I like. Let me go and. I have a feeling you're not going to like this one, although you probably just hate both these teams. You're like, this is just a stay away to me. But there's another road favorite, so I know you're not loving it. The Colts laying 2.5 to Chicago. The Bears are the most fraudulent 3-0 team in like the history of the National Football League. They've barely squeaked by the Lions, the Giants, and the Falcons. I think the Colts defense is legitimate. I mean, forget about what they did to the Jets. You and I could do that to the Jets. They destroyed Minnesota, which I think, you saw last week. Minnesota against Tennessee, they can score. They can put up points. I think what they did there is a lot on their defense as opposed to, the Vikings offense. They didn't play well against Jacksonville. They let them get back into the game. It's fine. You can do that. They've got a lot of injuries on offense. They're without Paris Campbell. They're without Michael Pittman Jr. But the offensive line is elite. I think they've kind of got this figured out right now where they're going to go to a lot of 2 tight end sets so they can get in Mo Alley Cox and Jack Doyle. And I think they've got enough on offense. If you're laying less than a field goal, I think the Colts are going to win this game. I think Chicago stinks that's overstating it. So for me, I like the Colts even in Chicago laying 2.5.
Are you afraid about teams preparing for Foles, and that the reason why that thing fell apart is because they prepped for Trubisky?
Sorry, we're talking about Atlanta blowing a massive fourth quarter lead, right?
Yeah, I know, but I just wonder. I mean, because I thought about this game. I mean, I looked at it and I went, okay, what do I think is the most likely thing to happen? Yeah, the Colts probably winning, and if they win, they probably win and cover this. But man, I'm concerned about.
But the thing is, it's not like defense. They've been preparing. They're not preparing. They haven't been preparing for this game for weeks. This isn't the first game of the season where they've been like, oh, we're getting ready for Trubisky. They've been preparing for it. They've known Foles was going to be the quarterback. Now, I do not like betting against Nick Foles. I really don't, because he is able to do that. He didn't really play all that well against the Falcons. He really didn't. He made a lot of, questionable throws. Both the guys in our fantasy football podcast, Mike Tagliere and Kyle Yates, are Bears fans. Like, they were lamenting the fact almost that they won and everybody was lauding Nick Foles because as much as he brought them back, he didn't play well. But I'm okay. We've got question marks about that one. You don't feel that good about it? That's okay.
I don't know who the Colts are yet. That's my thing. Like, what Jonathan Taylor should have had a monster game last weekend.
I'm telling you, Tag said the exact same thing on the fantasy podcast. They had that game won from a minute in, and they knew it. They didn't need to do anything. So Jonathan Taylor, I know we're all disappointed at his production, even though he found the end zone. Tags mentioned it on our Fantasy Pros Football podcast, that he was like, he didn't look like he had good vision. He wasn't making any moves.
He was running into linemen.
Yes.
He was running straight into the back. He wasn't bouncing. He was like, the hole wasn't there, and he's like, I don't care. I'm going through the A-gap.
That's right.
Whether it's there or not.
It was disinterest. That's what it was. It was, this game is over. Let's just run the clock out. It doesn't really matter. That's what I think about it anyway. I'm not willing to be worried whatsoever about Taylor, because a lot of people were asking about that from a fantasy perspective. Yeah. I'm not worried about it at all. No, I just think it was, give me it, whatever. This game's over. So disinterest. But that's fine. It's okay, because we do have 3 games already that we are both willing to go with. So if you have questions about that, that's fine. Do you have another one then? Who's your next one?
Well, I only have one left because we agree on the Browns and we agree on the Cardinals.
Correct.
So I only have one left, and you might actually kind of go, what the, at this pick.
I'm ready.
Houston Texans at home laying 3.5.
Okay. It's all right. So it's not on my list, but talk me through it. It's not on the other side. So talk me through it.
Okay, so the Vikings, I think, are not a good football team right now. And I think when you have an 0-3 football team who have played, arguably the hardest beginning of any season that I can remember. I'm 43. I can't remember a harder start to a year than to go up against the Ravens, Chiefs, and on the road at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That is just absolutely ridiculous. So I think Watson and company have a big day. I think this defensive secondary for the Vikings is young, inexperienced, and clueless. There's going to be about 13,000 fans in the building, so it's going to have a little bit of a home field advantage. I think their backs are against the wall, and they know that you're paying Watson all this money. You gave up on Hopkins. You traded him away. There's a lot of pressure on O'Brien and company to deliver here and turn the ship around. I think it starts here with this Vikings team that's really bad, and I think they've got their COVID questions going around. They missed 2 days of practice in preparation for Watson. I think this is where finally a win for the Texans by 7.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I lean towards the Texans. So we can put it in pencil. I'm a little worried about a few things. Number one, there are a lot of injuries popping up on the practice report this week. Will Fuller, who is
always
perpetually injured. on the injury report, I think with a hamstring. So we'll have to monitor his status because he does really change that offense a bit. Number two, I'm a little worried that the Vikings found something here with Justin Jefferson and realizing what they needed to do to score points offensively. So I'm a little worried that they might be able to keep it close. They're also desperate. I mean, in a different way, but they are desperate. So I'll put that one in pencil. And I want to talk about a couple other games here that we can think about. So we've got these two. I'm going to put the Colts on. It wasn't an outright, absolutely not. We're not going to do it.
Right, yeah.
Neither are the Texans. So we've got the Saints, definitely not.
Yeah.
And the Raiders, definitely not. Let's go. Let me ask you this, because I know that the number here annoys you where it is on DraftKings. I don't remember if it's different on Circa, but what about the Pats? They're getting 6.5 in KC. What are they in the Circa for?
Same. Okay, so here's the thing on this game. I'm going to bet this game, all right? I'm also going to tease this game. I'm taking the Patriots at 8 when it gets there. Now, it's going to get there. It's not there yet. But the Patriots plus 8, because I think the books are going to go there for teasers. They're going to go to 8. So I think we're going to get 8 at some point in the next 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that too with Dave Sharp.
I'll take the Pats at 8.
Okay.
And I am going to, at 7 in a contest, I would take the Patriots. At 6.5, I would take the Chiefs.
That's fair. And the consensus line right now, again, I'm on bettingpros.com. You can get consensus lines. I'll give you a couple of the breakdowns, by the way, of how the consensus experts are doing the picks. 55% still on the Pats, even at 6.5. If I have to choose one, I'll still go the Pats. I think this sets up really well for them. The brilliant game by everybody on the Chiefs. They don't stop the run nearly as well. I think you're going to get a lot of Newton as they try to control the clock. They do what the Ravens basically looked like they were going to try to do from the get-go, and then they just turned into a passing machine, which when they fell behind.
Well, you can't go down. I mean, the Pats and the Ravens are going to run the same offense, and if they go down by 14, it's all she wrote. It's game over.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So I do lean that way at 6.5, but it is something where, I know that the hook really is what it is, and I think if you're getting there and you can get that in Vegas, you should. Go ahead.
I'm mad. I'm about this line. I think this is a mistake by both contests. And I understand.
It is 6.5, by the way, you said in
it's in both. It's 6.5. And I think it's wrong because this number is going to be off by 1.5.
Yeah.
And so that ticks me off because normally they predict where the number is going to go. You're telling me that people are going to the window to bet the Patriots?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. After what they just did in prime time on Monday Night Football, that's not. I mean, normally the Patriots-Chiefs game would be on, prime time, blow it up, marquee game, Brady versus the young stud and Patrick Mahomes, defending champs against the team that they beat, against, I believe Mahomes is 0-3 still against the Patriots or 1-4 against Brady. So you would have had that whole storyline going on is, can Mahomes finally beat Brady? Well, that was last week for them against the Ravens. So a letdown game for the Patriots fits in perfectly for Belichick. So I still think, I think very much like the Chargers game where the Chargers got out to a really good start. I don't hate a bet on the Patriots in the first half here to have a lead at the half. And then the second half, the Chiefs get to life and then they win the game, but maybe not covering that 6.5 point line. So I don't hate a play in the Patriots, But from a betting perspective, I think you have to get 7 or higher to bet it for the Patriots.
And it is 7 out there. Again, I mentioned it on BettingPros. We have the consensus lines from the various sports books. We do have 2 7s showing right now, one at BetMGM and one at FanDuel. They're both at +7, so that's a little different. But everybody else that I can see is at 6.5. So yeah, it's a tough one. Under a touchdown, it's a little bit tough for me to do. Let me go down, by the way, a couple of just on BettingPros.com, we have a bunch of experts. Matt and I make our picks as well, making picks so you get this consensus of where people are with the lines. Now, Philadelphia at San Francisco, it's -7 in the consensus line. So we're actually getting the better of the line, and still 66% of experts are going with Philly in that sense.
Yeah.
I will say that even at Buffalo laying 3.5 to Las Vegas, 77% of people are on Buffalo. So I just want to put that out there for you. Indianapolis laying 2.5 to Chicago, which is the consensus line, just like ours. That is 60% of experts are going with Indianapolis.
By the way, did you guys ever run the number based upon what our experts go?
Yes.
In totality? Because does it matter because on a public side of things, if 75% are on one side, I like being in the 25%.
Right.
So
yeah.
so I'm curious about how are our experts doing if the 75% matter? Does it matter they're on 75% on one side?
No. It's a good point. What I can also do, I'll do next time, because I don't want to delay us too much as I have all the moving parts. But you can look at the people who are the most accurate or who are doing better in units, and you can see just how they are picking any specific
that's
game
something let's talk about those guys.
We're going to do those guys next week. Don't worry about it. Hopefully it'll be me.
That makes sense.
Me and you.
No, it won't be
right
me and
there.
you. No.
Okay.
I play strategy because I'm doing strategy in that. So
right.
so I'm doing I never play 3-unit games, but I'll do 3-unit games on that.
That's fair.
It's fun.
No, I do much more of my level of confidence that I definitely do change it, and I go higher on that. Okay, so just a couple other ones because I want to, just for the games that we're going. The Vikings at Houston laying 3.5, 65% with Houston. So that's something good. New Orleans giving 4. We are at 3.5, giving 4 to Detroit, 68% on New Orleans. Dallas, 66% laying 4.5. That's not going to be me and you, though. Seattle, we'll get to that game in a minute. Hold on, I want to talk about that one. 82% are on Arizona.
Oh, good.
Are on Arizona.
Good. Okay.
So
well,
that's
makes sense.
it. And we've got that. And just so you know, 57% are on the Jets. So we'll hope that goes well. But anyway, let's move on here then. And 55% are on New England. I may mention that at 6.5. Talk to me about Seattle laying 6.5 to Miami. Okay, it's not a game I really want.
Such a hard game because
it is, right? The sharp side. Do you agree that the sharp side for me, like the side that makes the most sense, putting aside the oh my God, it's Russell Wilson, and why are you ever going to bet against Russell Wilson? To me, is Miami at home getting 6.5. That's the better side.
Well, like I said, this is the week of home dogs. And historically speaking, in the NFL, home teams catching points, you want to be on that side. In particular, over a field goal, teams at home getting more than a field goal, you want to be on that side. Yep. So, I mean, granted, it's going to be greasy and grimy, and a backdoor might be needed to cover it. But, yeah, I mean, I think this is either a dog or a no play for me, because you can easily see a letdown after the Cowboys, and all this praise, all this love, they're going literally to the two farthest, Seattle to Miami, is the farthest distance between cities you can play in the NFL. So it's a huge road trip. You're going into the heart of COVID-19 country in Miami and Miami-Dade County. So you got that whole concern going on for Seattle. I mean, if I don't like this, but if I was going to take it, if I had to, I would take the Dolphins, yes.
If you came in on this, you were like, Dan, you know what I like? I like the Dolphins.
Oh, my God, it's great. No, I can't.
I would take it. I know, it's gross.
It's too big of a risk.
I don't want to be there on Sunday going against Russell Wilson. I choose not right now. To do that.
Not unless DK Metcalf gets hurt.
Right.
If DK Metcalf gets hurt, then it changes everything. But he is a matchup nightmare for every defense, and Wilson's got this crazy ability of throwing the football up, and it stays up there for like an eternity, and Metcalf just runs underneath it. And he plays basketball. He boxes out the DB.
He's awesome.
It's incredible. I mean, it's just...
as long as he can hold on to the ball before he crosses the goal line.
Well,
that's really what you got to do.
He's unstoppable, and he's unguardable. Even with double teams, he's unguardable. So it's so difficult to look at Seattle, and like their defense gets to play better because they're always playing with the lead. So they pin their ears back and just go after the quarterback. And like, I mean, they're beatable. But right now, I mean, this whole like charge to get Wilson an MVP, I think the team really wants to do it. I think this is like the calling card of 2020 for the Seattle Seahawks is to get Russell Wilson the MVP because he's playing
also
like it.
He's playing out of control, and he does the thing where he drops it in the bucket better than anyone I can remember ever doing, where he's able to throw that ball. It's really amazing, and it's great. It's good to watch. And again, you talk about what they're going to do in this game. They really have no running game. Maybe Chris Carson plays. I doubt it. Even Carlos Hyde is on the injury report, so they're really going to be throwing. So, yeah, I think Miami is the right side. I will probably have it, for example, on our site. That's the side that I would go with. But, yeah, it makes me a little worried about it getting into the contest. So, again, we may have our 5 in the 3 we kind of like and 2 we don't absolutely hate. But let's go through a couple more here.
Okay.
I know this goes against the Peraltism, so it's off the table. But if you came in and you wanted, hold on one second, sorry. This is just where my garage door opens. Clinton,
I was like, that's what it sounds like. I was like, it sounds like a garage.
Can you hear it?
Oh, yeah. Like, that sounds like a garage door.
Clinton sometimes leaves us in the video. If you're watching us on bettingpros.com/YouTube, hello, my office is on top of my garage, and my wife, without a doubt, and I do 7 podcasts a week, no matter what time it is. I guarantee you, she is leaving to come in and out of this garage door. So usually Clinton, you can feel free to.
Yeah, mine's right by here, so you'll hear my kid running around right by me.
That's all right. Yeah. That's all right. My kids are usually busting in. Okay, so if you came and you said, Dan, I got this feeling, man. I think they're going to be so mad at what happened on Monday, and I want to take the Ravens laying 12.5 to Washington. I would do it. I think they are going to be so angry right now. Dwayne
this is a backdoor waiting to happen.
Of course it is. Of course it's, which is why, you know what it really probably is? It's a Dwayne Haskins gets benched or, hurt, God forbid, or anything like that. And Kyle Allen comes in and scores like 2 meaningless touchdowns for them to lose by 10 or something like that. So I get it. I assumed it was off the table, which is why it was way down on my list right now.
It's a prime teaser game.
Yeah,
go after
that's true.
Go after the teaser here and tease this thing down. And I think that's the way to. But 12.5 is just get it below a touchdown, and I agree. But you got to protect against the back door, and that back door is going to be open, I think.
Well, the consensus lines, it is now up to 13.5.
Boy.
With 14 at certain places, and everybody's coming in.
Well, you get me over 14.5. I think you may wind up betting.
It's like last year, right, with the Patriots, where you were doing that at the beginning of the season, where you were like, oh, the line's just 17, and I don't even hate it. So that's where it is. Okay, but that's fine. We could say off that one. And unless you like the underdog, which I assume you don't, given how much you hate the Giants getting 12.5 from the Rams.
Oh my gosh, no.
I don't want that game at all.
But here's the thing, though. Should the Rams be favored that much against anybody? I don't like the number, but that again is a dog or no play because I don't know. The Rams are good, but I guess because they're at home, it's after the 2 back-to-back trips to the East Coast. Now they're at home, taking on a horrible team that they have a chance to put some numbers up on the board. But I don't know. That's a lot of points. Giants.
Who's the worst team, Giants or Jets, by the way? Because I've been getting this question a lot. Yeah, by far, right?
Yeah,
okay,
Jets.
Thank you.
Not
so
even,
all
not
my
even
friends
question.
who are listening, you have it now from
unbiased. There's not even a debate in my mind, and that's without Saquon Barkley.
Oh, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't understand why there's a discussion. Like the Jets are on their own tier of terribleness. But yeah, for me, the Rams, I get that it seems crazy that it's that big a favorite, but it's a game I don't want to touch. It's just not something.
Yeah, you can't lay in these contests. You can't lay double digits. It's just
even out of the contest though. I don't want to touch it at all. Like I get that the spread sort of is like, wow, that's crazy. I do think that the Rams offense, you saw what they could do very easily. I know you hate Buffalo's defense, but they can put up points in an instant, and especially if you've got something at home or now on the road without noise. For McVay to be in Goff's ear, as you talk about all the time.
Yep.
Let's go to, and by the way, 63% of experts, even at 12.5, are leaning towards the Rams. Let's go. How about the Jaguars getting 3.5 from the Bengals? Do you have any lean on that?
These are games I wouldn't bet with your money.
Yeah, you can if you want.
Because here's the thing with the Jags, okay? They're so tough to predict. Like I thought against Miami, I was on the Jags.
Yeah.
they have talent. I mean, they're not horrible. They're not great, but they have talent. And so I look at, I don't know yet about Joe Burrow. I'm coming around. I'm talking about betting on him. I'm coming around on the idea that Burrow might be a guy that the books are undervaluing his ability, his moxie, his toughness, his ability to backdoor cover, which is, Joey Backdoor may be a nickname that we're giving because we're laughing about it, but that might stick. He might be a dude that just, even when they're losing, he could come out. And then the tie last week against the Eagles, I think that benefited the Bengals. It gives them some confidence going into this game. So I don't like it, but if I had to pick a side, I'd be on the Bengals.
Yeah, I think with the hook, I'd go Jaguars. I think that I'm assuming DJ Chark plays because I really think that the loss of DJ Chark last week completely messed him up. Chris Conley dropped 2 ball. It was terrible. That doesn't explain why Ryan Fitzpatrick almost set a record for, completions in a row. But I think I'd probably lean at 3.5 towards the Jaguars. But again, it's a complete stay away game. I think there's only 2 that we haven't touched on.
Okay.
One of them is the Chargers getting 7.5 from the Bucks.
See, let me throw it back at you for a second.
Yes.
How good is this Bucks offense when healthy?
When healthy, I think they're pretty good. I don't think they're an elite offense at this point because I think that Brady has really taken a step back, and I think he's feeling the
because it's strength on strength here. Okay, this is defense for the Chargers, offense for the Bucks. I think the Chargers keep this game within a touchdown. I think the Bucks win, but if I had to pick a side, I don't like it. But I think the number matters here. I would take the Chargers.
The consensus has gone down to 7 for what it's worth. So you're getting a hook in the contest. Yeah. I think there are a couple of things. I think Chris Godwin's out.
Right.
I think that really hurts because I think Godwin's huge. I think Scotty Miller may be out. He's struggling right now, I think, with a groin injury, which I didn't even realize necessarily. So, and I think Leonard Fournette is going to be out. They're really hurting on offense. But as you aptly predicted before we got into the season, the Chargers are completely decimated with injuries. They just put Chris Harris Jr. on IR. They lost Melvin Ingram. We know they lost Derwin James. I don't want to bet on a rookie QB at this point. I don't love him. I'd rather, if you you felt the same way about it, and we had to pick one, I would certainly go with the Colts giving the 2.5 to the Bears. There's one other game I think that we haven't checked on, and that's Monday night, which is the Falcons getting 7.5 from the Packers.
Tease it. This is my week. This is my teaser. I'm teasing Green Bay down to 1.
Okay.
But I don't like this game. But I think Green Bay wins. But I don't.
Alan Lazard also is almost certainly out. I think Devontae Adams is coming back, but
I think Adams back is a big deal.
It makes it. Yeah, of course.
It's a huge deal. But I think they win. I think Green Bay wins. But I don't like that number. I think that's heavy here. And because I think the Falcons, I mean, again, this is another team playing for their lives, and the hook matters. 7.5, that hook matters to me.
Yeah. I don't like it. Either way, I just don't want to go near it. I don't know what the Packers are. The Packers is good. I can't really tell. I mean, Rodgers is playing at old Rodgers level, but I'm still not convinced 100%.
Well, it kind of throws it back in the face of a lot of us who expected the regression because of the one score wins last year.
Yeah.
And everyone said, oh, that team that went to the NFC Championship game, they're not really that good because look how many games they won by one score. And in a way, it kind of showed us the other way of like, well, they were good enough to win and be on the right side of all those one scores. So, I mean, I think this Falcons team is really bad. And look, Julio might come back. If he does, I think it's significant. But if he doesn't, that's a pretty big loss as well. And this Falcons team just keeps on finding new and impressive ways to blow games. So
it's bad. It's really bad.
In prime time.
Yeah, in prime time. 59% in Lambeau. 59% of experts are on Green Bay at -7 right here. Okay, so here's what I've got, Matt, and you tell me if I'm wrong. The Eagles are getting 7.5 from the 49ers. We like that one.
Yep.
The Cardinals are laying 3.5 to the Panthers. We like that one.
Yep.
The Browns are getting 4.5 from the Cowboys. We like that one.
Yep.
The Texans are laying 3.5 to the Vikings. You like that one.
Yep.
I'm okay with it, and it's passable for me.
Okay.
And the Colts are laying 2.5 to the Bears. You don't like it,
but it's passable.
But you don't hate it as much as you hate every other game.
No, I don't. Again, I don't hate it. I mean, I need Rivers to not throw interceptions, and I need Rivers to get rid of the football and not get sacked and have pick sixes and whatnot. But as long as
I can't guarantee any of that.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't happen, I think the Colts win.
Okay. All right. I think. Look, I am a little worried about. I would feel better about it with Trubisky for sure.
Yes. Fading Trubisky.
Sure.
I have a master's degree in favor fading that guy. I love fading that dude. Nick Foles scares me just because I wonder if they're. I mean, again, you're playing with a new quarterback, new options, and I think. I mean, it's funny. Nick's comments after the game were like, I feel for Mitch and I was there. I've been there for Mitch. It's like, yeah, buddy, you don't care. You're starting, man. You got a job again and you know it's your job because Matt Nagy.
Foles is like the nicest dude.
Nah,
don't
Matt
be bitter.
Nagy was waiting. He was waiting to make that change. He wanted to do that when they signed him, but he couldn't do it until, I mean, he in a game in which Trubisky didn't play that badly. He threw one pick, and the second time, as soon as he threw a pick, he was benched. Boom, instantly.
I think what it was is they clearly wanted Foles to be the starter.
Yeah.
But you couldn't go to Foles and ever go back to Mitch.
Right.
It was done. So you had to start Mitch, see what you had. And then he played terribly in that first game and then miraculously had this awesome fourth quarter and they won the game. And you're like, all right, well, now we're kind of here. But
stuck.
Once he went to Foles, I was talking with the guys too. They were like, I don't know, maybe they go back to Mitch. I was like, no, this is done. And then he named him the starter. Okay. So those are our 5 picks. That's it. Unless we change. If you talk to, you get some good inside information like you often do, let me know and we can change it. We will tweet it out. Again, tune in to Matt's live stream, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on Sunday mornings. He's going to go through the whole slate. I'll let you know if we change. He'll have some props for you. As I did last week, I will send him a couple of props on Saturday night that he can relay to you guys. And that is it. Follow us along again on Twitter at Dan Harris80 and at Sports Talk Matt. Matt will talk to you in the morning on the Daily Juice podcast. I will talk to you next week or on the Fantasy Pros Football Podcast. See you then.